Football teams across the world often have to play in conditions that seem nearly impossible for the sport. Thousands of such cases occur every year. Sometimes players have to compete in heavy rain or hail, and at times in even harsher weather conditions. There have been instances where extreme natural phenomena have struck football fields, putting both players and fans at great risk. Let's go through some of the most terrifying weather events in football history, start to finish. Right now, it's extremely important for me to make it into the trending section. I hope you'll help me with that. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments and feel free to leave a like or a dislike. It's up to you. In 2012, during a football match in Japan, a sudden whirlwind emerged and soon grew into a real monster. The unexpected appearance of the tornado caught Japanese footballers off guard on the field. The referees had to halt the game, and everyone huddled together holding hands. Fortunately, no one was injured. However, the tornado later struck several stadium structures, ripping the roof off one of them. Reports confirm that those present at the stadium were unharmed, unlike the stadium itself. Now, let's go back to 2002, the CSKA and Spartak match. This derby became legendary not because of the score, the quality of the football, or any statistical record. Fans of the world's most popular ball game remember it for the extreme weather conditions in which it was played. Just half an hour before kickoff, a November snowstorm covered the field in a thick layer of snow. The equipment sent to clear it ended up tearing up what was left of the pitch. The heavy snowfall didn't just impact the players, it also made things difficult for the fans. Snow made it difficult for people to reach the stadium. Many entrances were blocked, and snow on the walkways leading to the stands wasn't cleared because all staff were focused on cleaning the field itself. Despite the extreme conditions, the head referee decided not to cancel the Russian championship match. What followed barely resembled football. In 2011, on the day of a Russian Premier League match between Dynamo and Krylia Sovetov, an enormous amount of rain fell from the sky. The pitch looked more like a water polo field. With the ball getting stuck in puddles and soaked grass, players had no choice but to keep the ball in the air as much as possible. Back in 2007, an unforgettable match put the Kazakhstan Championship in the global football spotlight. In the city of Ekibastuz, the game took place despite the field being completely flooded after heavy rain. The ball was literally floating above the grass. In footage from the match, players are seen struggling even to take a corner kick, with the referee personally advising them on how to make a proper pass in such extreme conditions. On October 19, 2018, a football match was taking place in Saudi Arabia. Suddenly, in the 4th minute of the game, a powerful sandstorm began, forcing the referee to stop play. As visibility worsened, the players were unable to continue the match. But the spectators in the stands had it even worse. By the 12th minute, the referee announced a break, and both teams waited for the wind to die down. Witnesses say that during the sandstorm, the biggest challenges were faced by the fans. For several minutes, they struggled to find a spot in the stands where they could shield themselves from the sand. In January 2017, powerful winds tore multiple advertising boards from their frames at a stadium in Johannesburg and sent them flying onto the field just as a match between Orlando Pirates and Black Leopards was about to start. Fortunately, no one was injured. The referee halted the game, and the players were forced to gather the scattered boards. In Tanzania, a football match had to be interrupted due to a swarm of bees attacking the players. During the game, an enormous number of bees suddenly descended on the stadium, stinging footballers, referees, and spectators alike. The incident occurred early in the second half. Players were forced to drop to the ground and then sprint off the field in search of cover. The same went for the substitutes and even some of the fans. Bizarrely, the assistant referee found the whole situation amusing and couldn't help but laugh, despite the risk of being stung. After some time, the match resumed. Meanwhile, European football also fell victim to extreme weather. In Brussels, a friendly match between the national teams of Tunisia and Belgium had to be halted due to an intense hailstorm that battered the entire country. Play was suspended for 40 minutes. During this time, chaos reigned both on and off the pitch. Now let's go back to 1985. A fire broke out at a stadium in Bradford, injuring many people. This was the price the local club paid for neglecting basic safety regulations. A dull, goalless first half was nearing its end when a police officer noticed smoke rising from the back of the central stand. What started as a citywide celebration turned into a living nightmare in just 4 minutes. The entire stand was engulfed in flames. Some people instinctively ran onto the pitch, which ultimately saved their lives. Others rushed toward the exits, only to find themselves trapped instead of escaping. Just as a group of fans was on the verge of fleeing the fire, a burning tarp collapsed from the stadium's roof. According to eyewitnesses, one stroke of luck in this tragedy was that the stadium did not have barriers separating the stands from the field. At first glance, this next photograph doesn't seem particularly interesting. First, it's black and white. Second, nothing remarkable appears to be happening in it. Just a goalkeeper standing in front of his goal. Nothing unusual. However, behind this image lies a fascinating story. In 1937, a football match took place in London between Charlton Athletic and Chelsea. From the very start, the game was a struggle, not just for both teams, but for the spectators as well. A thick fog descended onto the pitch, making it nearly impossible for players to see one another, let alone the ball. The match was temporarily suspended, but was soon resumed. The referee decided that London's infamous fog was no obstacle for English footballers. And so, the game continued, or so Charlton Athletic goalkeeper Sam Bartram thought. He stood guard at his goal, peering into the fog, expecting to see the shadowy figures of approaching players with the ball. He remained focused, ready to defend his territory. But no figures appeared. In fact, the field had become eerily silent. Lost in concentration and tension, Sam stood there for about 15 minutes. It was during this time that the famous photograph was taken. In his autobiography, Bartram later recounted what happened next. Quite some time had passed when a figure finally emerged from the mist. It was a police officer, who looked at me as if I were an idiot. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "The game was called off 15 minutes ago. There's no one left on the pitch." As it turned out, after briefly resuming play, the referee had ultimately decided to cancel the match. Disappointed fans had already gone home and the players had retreated to their locker rooms. Yet no one had bothered to inform Charlton Athletic's goalkeeper, who had been stationed at the opposite end of the field during the cancellation. Luckily, the police officer thought to check the pitch and stumbled upon the abandoned goalkeeper. Otherwise, Sam, ever faithful to his duty, might have stood there guarding his goal until the next match. If you want a sequel to this video, be sure to hit the like button, share your thoughts on what you've seen, and don't forget to pass this video along to your friends.